Hi there, my name's Zach, and I've been programming since I was 6. I'd been coding for 15 years when I joined a small startup that badly needed a skilled coder. The founders hired me because of my skills, but my bosses looked down on me because I was young and I was a dropout. Despite the way they treated me, I did the best I could at work. I wanted to be proud of what I did there, and I wanted my interns to be proud of our work. Those guys were what kept me going. I loved teaching them, and they loved learning from me, so I gave it my all. I made sure our projects were a success. And I guess there was Kareen. She was the light in that place. She was beautiful and nice, and she laughed at my jokes. Kareen and I started there together, and I've had a crush on her ever since the day we met. There were countless sleepless nights and unpaid overtime. Sometimes I'd fall asleep in front of my computer, but it was all worth it if it meant our small enterprise would someday succeed. But then the problems began. I admit it, it was never about the money for me, but a boy gotta eat, you know? For 3 years, they never gave me a raise. Meanwhile, the company was expanding and they were hiring more people. They hired this guy from a prestigious university, and on his first day, he mistook me for a janitor. Hey, you, I'm talking to you. My office is a mess. Clean it up, will you? Oh, that's not my job, Who are you? Don't you know who I am? I'm the new junior developer. Now, get me a janitor, whoever you are. I smiled at him. Nothing like a privileged background to give someone so junior that kind of arrogance. I did see his CV before, and I cautioned against hiring him because he had barely a year of coding experience. And yet, somehow, he was there. I extended my hand to shake his hand. The name's Zach, lead developer, your boss. Brad laughed. Sorry, what? They told me the lead dev had over 10 years of experience. You're, what, 16? 21. It's the baby face, I know, but yeah, I'm your boss. You've gotta be kidding me. I have to report to someone who's 5 years younger than me? I'm gonna have a talk with Chandler. Chandler was one of the founders, and when I heard Brad was a buddy of his from school, I realized why he got the job. One day, I found Brad hanging about my office. It was payday, and he was snooping around my desk. He laughed when I walked through the door. Oh, forgive me. Couldn't help but take a peek at your email. I can't believe you're only making half of what I make in a month. Wow, they must have gotten you pretty cheap because you never finished school, huh? He chuckled and left. I didn't even bother scolding him or writing him up for HR for opening my emails. None of that worked. I've tried so many times to get him fired, or at least to have them punish him for all the messes he's made. Every day, I still had to fix his rubbish code. It would have actually been better if nobody gave him any work to do at all. That way, I didn't have to use up my time trying to fix any of it. But Brad was unfireable, just because he went to the same school as one of the founders and their dads were golf buddies. But what really pushed me over the edge was that he was making twice as much as I was, and I was his boss. I'd been working for the company since it was formed, and I'd been asking for a raise for 3 years. And now this newbie who can't even write a single piece of functioning code was making more than me. I was incensed. I walked up to the founders and gave them a choice. Pay me what I'm worth or I walk. Dude, this again? Yes, this again. You promised me I'd get a raise 10 months ago. You said Christmas, then February. It's almost August now. I have not asked you for much this whole time. I'm worth way more out there. You think anyone out there would hire a dropout? We're doing you a favor here. Just accept what we give you. Besides, there's no money for a raise. I mean, you were gonna get that raise, but we hired Brad, and we need Brad. He's good for the company. Are you saying that the guy who cost us $50,000 when he broke one of our servers is good for the company? Oh, he's fun at parties, Zach, and you're not. The only reason I still stayed was Kareen. She needed me, and I didn't want her to feel abandoned. But then something happened that made me question if I made the right decision. Kareen got a huge promotion. She became the COO. From being there with me in the trenches, doing real work, she became part of management. And suddenly, her tune changed. Suddenly, she was siding with the bosses. She went on private jet rides with the guys and company trips where they spent as if the money was never gonna run out. Her salary tripled. While Kareen enjoyed the high life, I suffered the worst week of mine. My house burned down. I lost everything. I had to move whatever stuff I could save to a local motel. As soon as the bosses came back from a conference, I asked them for help. I was desperate, and I thought because I had been with them from the start, they would at least show some compassion. They said no. I just needed a bit of help, but they refused. Not even Kareen fought for me. And I saw why. She was wearing an engagement ring. Brad put his arm over her shoulder. I didn't bother saying goodbye. I emailed them my immediate resignation, and I left. I took an old computer, set up a small office in one of my friend's garages, and started my own company. But as I began typing up my first line of code, I heard a knock on the garage door. I flung it open, and there they were, my interns. They followed me. They quit their jobs and followed me. I nearly cried. You guys, you should have stayed. I can't pay you at all right now. So, I'd rather work for you for free than get paid by those dummies. Everything you teach us is worth more than we'll ever make there. Besides, I know you'll pay us when you can. We each got a chair, and we got to work. As time went on, our little garage team grew, and we started making money. We moved to a proper office, and that was when we heard that our old company had gotten involved in politics. There were whispers of them landing a deal with some nefarious organization that aimed to influence an election. I hacked into our old database and confirmed it. They were paid $200 million to do it. I got a phone call at 3 in the morning the day after. It was the founders, and they had noticed that I had used my back doors in the company database. They told me their lawyers would be in touch, only that went nowhere because I didn't have a contract with them. I started working there when there were only 5 people, so things weren't even put on paper. I had no NDAs, and the company held no copyright for my code. If I wanted, I could take back all my work. When they realized this, they launched a smear campaign against my budding company. They found out who my clients were, and they badmouthed me, told them lies. They even paid for a billboard which directly attacked my company. But for all their scheming, their plan backfired. People saw this and started rooting for us, the underdogs, instead. And while they were busy trying to ruin my reputation, their projects were busy falling apart. They had Brad running DevOps, and of course, with a dummy like him at the helm, their company's whole infrastructure began to collapse. I heard the servers even got corrupted, and it was all thanks to Brad. One evening, Kareen called me in a panic asking me for help. I just put the phone down. I was not about to help people who tried to ruin me. As the public continued their support for us, our company's value skyrocketed. Soon, we were on par with our rivals, and I had a great idea. I released an app that was in direct competition with theirs, and within a week, we smoked their app. We had over 100,000 downloads in less than 48 hours. They had 105. It was pitiful. The app's success was ridiculous. I became a millionaire overnight. I kept that a secret, and only Daniel and Duval knew. Not even our company accountant was told what the company was worth just yet. I gave my loyal interns a huge raise, and then I made them both executives. I organized a party to make the huge announcement for all of our employees. But before I got to the stage, the people from my old company gate-crashed our event. Seriously? You call this a party, Zach? I guess we really didn't pay you enough. Poor you. You couldn't even afford a caterer. I thought you'd be a bigger success. You beat our app. But look how cheap all of this is. You'll never reach the heights our company has reached. You're just a wannabe, Zach. I smiled at them and even offered them drinks and canopies. I got to the stage and started my speech. The party was humble for a reason, because when I finally revealed revealed the new valuation of the company, during my speech, the balloons and the confetti and the fireworks came, and all the waitresses dressed in gold appeared out of nowhere. The drab event transformed into an extravagant gala, and my old boss's jaws dropped when they saw that our company was now valued tenfold what theirs was. And by the way, since my old bosses are here, let me tell you something fun. I've been stealing your clients bit by bit. I've been gobbling up parts of your business for a year, and very soon your company will be so devalued I can buy it for the price of a McDonald's burger. Their phones began to beep. They got the emails right then and there. My lawyers had done their work. My old bosses no longer had a company of their own. I'd already replaced them with my team. You can't do this! Please, stop, Zach! I'll lose everything! Zach, we're buddies. Please, don't fire me. Did I tell you that Brad and I were fighting? I can break up with him now. Just please let me keep my job. There's nothing any of you can say. Remember when my house burned down and I lost everything? You showed me no compassion. An eye for an eye makes the world go blind. The only ones blinded by their own arrogance is you. And now I get my long-awaited justice. I walked away with the supermodels I invited to the party. And when I was sure Brad and Connie were looking, I kissed them all just to rub my new status in their faces.